There is one offense that has taken over the NFL unlike any other, and it is the wide zone. It is spread like wildfire, with about a third of the league having its roots based in this offense. Some of the game's biggest stars are being used within this offense to put up jaw-dropping stats, and at the forefront are coaches who employ some of the most creative, explosive, and dynamic schemes in all of football, utilizing the wide zone, while each of them puts their own unique spin on it. Now, this is going to be an incredible offense to bring to Madden because of its dynamic and borderline unstoppable run game, its play action pass game off the run that can be used to create some explosive gains down the field, and then the creative approach we are bringing to the scheme is going to allow you to utilize your playmakers in ways that you won't see other people doing in Madden, and we are going to scheme these players open for huge gains all over the field. So I'm creating 4 separate wide zone schemes in Madden 24, and each one of them is going to be getting their own in-depth breakdown video, but they will all be run out of the Chicago Bears playbook. So even though they are distinct schemes, they are all meant to be combined into one giant unstoppable offense. Now, the first of the 4 teams we are looking at is starting with Kyle Shanahan and the Niners, and under his tutelage, they have dominated the offensive side of the ball over the past half decade. Now, the run game is at the forefront of everything they do, and they will use their zone blocking running scheme that the wide zone offense is known for, but they will also employ more power elements with pulling guards and fullbacks ready to blow defenders off the ball. Then off of that, he is a deadly play action pass game that he will set up, and this is where he can go into mad scientist mode and create huge plays down the field. Then Kyle always puts a premium on playmakers, and he wants to be able to use his scheme to get these players into open grass, and then from there they can use their elite traits to turn these into giant gains. And under Shanahan's lead, they have already made 1 Super Bowl appearance in 2019, and now they have to be one of the favorites this year to take the wide zone to the mountaintop and win it all. Next up, we have Sean McVay's Rams, and they have become synonymous with the wide zone with their cutting edge offense. The Rams approach centers on a classic zone blocked running game that relies heavily on agility and synchronization of the offensive line. This scheme creates lateral movement, opening up running lanes for backs who excel at making quick cuts and bursting through holes and getting downfield in a hurry. The Rams running game isn't just about gaining yards, it sets the stage with the rest of their offense. McVay integrates play action passes seamlessly off these runs, getting his QB on the move, booting out of these looks to hit some big plays down the field. Then since bringing Matt Stafford on board, he has started to incorporate more shotgun looks to the offense, where they will use tight formations to cause a ton of confusion for defenses so he can scheme open his receivers and create some giant plays down the field. And McVay's genius, along with Stafford's elite arm talent, has allowed them to create their own unstoppable version of this scheme. And on the back of the wide zone, the Rams were able to take home a Super Bowl victory in 2022. Then for our third offense, we have Mike McDaniel and the Miami Dolphins. Now, Mike worked under Kyle Shanahan with the Niners, and he has brought his own flavor to the wide zone since taking over the Dolphins. McDaniel's offense is built on a strong running game, just like his mentors, but for him, it is speed over everything. The Finns have quite possibly the fastest team ever assembled in the NFL, with 4 of the fastest players in the league together on one offense, and they can turn a 10-yard gain into a house call before defenses even know what hit them. I would almost consider the offense a wide zone spread offense mix, with their heavy use of RPOs and Tua playing almost like a point guard back there, delivering strikes, and their heavy utilization of motion and unique looks to get their playmakers on the edge and into the secondary where they can become unstoppable. And it really feels like the McDaniels Dolphins are the next iteration of the wide zone, and the sky is the absolute limit for what they can accomplish offensively. Then the 4th team is actually going to be a mystery team that also utilized a version of the wide zone, but had one of the most athletic QBs ever at the center of their offense. He was coached by all 3 of the head coaches mentioned in this video. Let me know your guesses on the team below. Now, there are some core principles of the wide zone offense that serve as the backbone that makes it so hard to stop, and we're going to be implementing all of them throughout our offenses. First, the wide zone offense is built upon a dominant zone block run game. This approach relies on offensive linemen moving in unison laterally to create horizontal seams for the running back. The lineman's ability to effectively stretch the defense side to side opens up cutback lanes, allowing the running back to get into the secondary and make plays. This scheme requires backs with excellent vision and decisiveness who can quickly identify the hole, put their foot in the ground, and explode upfield. The success of the run game in this system sets the foundation for the rest of the offense, and once this gets going, it is going to open up the rest of the playbook. This year, the Niners are the best example of using your run game to set the table for everything, and they actually lead the NFL running the ball on 47% of their plays. Then in the wide zone offense, the effectiveness of the run game opens up opportunities for play action passes. Since the defense must commit resources to stop the run, they become vulnerable to the play action game, which can open up a ton downfield. Quarterbacks fake handoffs to draw linebackers and safeties forward, creating openings on the back end that we can exploit for explosive gains. This approach is particularly effective in generating big gains down the field, as the defense is often a step late in transitioning from run defense to pass coverage. Then this year, the Dolphins actually lead the NFL in both play action pass yards and attempts. Then the Niners are coming in at 6th in the NFL, showing how crucial this is in these schemes. Then pre-snap motion and formation shifts are super important to the wide zone offense, adding a layer of complexity and deception. These movements can reveal the defensive coverage, help in identifying mismatches, and force defenses to adjust their alignment and assignments. Motion can be as simple as moving a tight end across the formation, or it can be moving receivers all around the field, or even motioning a running back out of the backfield to give your formation a whole new look. Now, in our Madden 24 offense, we are going to be doing a ton of motion in individual plays to create mismatches and let us create some really big plays, but we are also going to be implementing a ton of full formation shifts where we're going to start in one formation, then audible over to another new formation, giving us a full shift and allowing us to create some huge plays before the defense can adjust to us. Now, motion is such a big part of the wide zone that the Dolphins lead the league with motion rate. They do it on an incredible 86% of their plays. Then the Niners are in 2nd and the Rams are in 4th in the NFL. Then the wide zone thrives with explosive playmakers who can maximize opportunities created by the scheme. These players, whether they are speedy athletic receivers, dynamic backs, or versatile tight ends, are crucial in turning well-designed plays into big gains. In the passing game, these playmakers can take short passes and use their elite athleticism to create dynamic plays, or they can use their deep speed to get in behind defenses for huge pickups. In the run game, their ability to rapidly exploit gaps or turn the corner on outside runs adds an extra threat to defenses on every single play. This explosiveness has led these offenses to be among the most dynamic in the NFL, with the Dolphins first in yards per play with 7.0, then the Niners second at 6.4 yards per play. Then if you want to take this offense to the next level, you need to check out my website, Scheme Kings. Up right now is my wide zone school video where I'm going to go over some of the concepts and plays that are vital in making this offense work. And we are going to go super in depth on how to implement the wide zone to become really difficult to handle. Then there is going to be a ton more coming up in the future for this offense. So if you want to make sure you can be as unstoppable as possible using this offense, you need to check out Scheme Kings. Then also on the site, you can find my 2 full schemes that are out so far in Madden 24 with my NFL spread offense and my Georgia Bulldogs match-based defense. Also, you can get access to my playbooks, which are fully written breakdowns for my schemes, with 8 out so far, and my newest being my Georgia Bulldogs match coverage-based defense, and it's 38 pages long, and you can utilize it to take your defense to a whole nother level. Then starting today, we have a sale on the site. Use code WIDE at checkout for 50% off your first month, and this sale is going to run till December 12th. If you want to check out Scheme Kings, it will be linked down in the description below. Now, getting into the personnel you are going to use for this wide zone offense. Now, each scheme we release will be unique and have some different elements, but for the most parts, we will use players that overlap. So you want to target guys who fit into these roles. So to start it off, we want to nail down the QB position. In the wide zone, athleticism is one of the keys at this spot. We will be doing heavy play actions where we boot out. We need to get onto the edge of the defense, and throwing on the run is key here, and you need to be able to deliver strikes on these plays. Then we do have some deep balls in this offense, so arm strength to push the ball down the field is a big bonus. Now, the 2 QBs who have had the most success with these teams is first Tua, who's been the ultimate point guard for the Dolphins and is in the MVP conversation this year. Then we have Matthew Stafford for the Rams, who actually led LA to a Super Bowl victory using the wide zone under Sean McVay. So in this spot, I'm using using the Lamar Jackson most feared card, and he is a great fit for this scheme. For the running back position in the wide zone, we want a complete back who can do it all, but is going to lean towards more speed and agility than power. These backs need to be able to see a hole, put their foot in the ground, and explode through the opening, and then they also need the speed to break away from defenders and get some explosive gains once they're in the open field. In the wide zone, we're also going to use our running back to catch a ton of passes, so we need someone who can make plays catching the football and then do damage once they have it. The standouts in this role has been the do-it-all superstar Christian McCaffrey for the Niners, then the lightning fast Raheem Mostert for the Finns, and then for the Rams, Todd Gurley was an absolute beast in this scheme. Then for my running back, I'm using the Alvin Kamara most feared card in this spot. For our number one wide receiver, we're focusing on blistering speed and deep play capability. He is going to be our go-to weapon pushing the ball down the field. We want to have that deep speed to get in behind defenses for big plays, then the ability to catch balls underneath or on jet sweeps and make people miss in the open field is the next trait we are after. The receiver who we're basing this role off of is Tyreek Hill with the Dolphins, and his incredible ability to be a dynamic playmaker with the ball in his hands, and in this offense he turned into one of the most unstoppable weapon in the NFL. Now in this spot, I'm using the Jamar Chase most feared card, and the majority of the time this player will be lining up on the outside. For our second wide receiver, we're focusing on an all-around playmaker who has the speed to get downfield and make some big plays, but then also be a gadget player and will be our main target in jet motion plays or screen passes, and he needs to be dynamic with the ball in his hands. The receivers who we are basing this role off of are Deebo Samuel with the Niners and Jalen Waddle with the Dolphins. They are the ultimate Swiss Army knives of the NFL who can win underneath and break tackles, get deep down the field for big plays, and then sometimes even line up at running back and get handoffs in these offenses. I've chosen the Mark Clayton legend card for this role, and he will usually line up on the outside in our formations. For our number three receiver, we are looking for a big power slot. We need a great runner who can get in and out of breaks, and he will be our go-to weapon over the middle of the field, and he needs to be able to shred man coverage, and he's our go-to option versus these man coverage looks. The receiver who we're basing this role off of is Cooper Kupp with the Rams, and he's the prototypical big slot and is an absolute terror working the middle of the field and has had some incredible seasons working in this role for the Rams. Here I'm using the Cooper Kupp most feared card in this role, and he will usually be lined up in the slot, and for an ability I actually have short in a lead on him, and this allows him to get extra separation when running routes short of 10 yards against man coverage, making it much easier to pick up some big gains versus these looks. In the wide zone offense, a tight end can take the scheme from good to great. We need a balanced tight end who can attack underneath on crucial downs, make some big plays deeper down the field with his athleticism, but also be a willing and able blocker to spring our running backs in our run game. The tight end who's the perfect player for this offense is George Kittle with the Niners, who brings it all to the tight end position and is one of the elite all-around weapons in the NFL. For this role in our offense, I'm using the George Kittle most feared mutt card, and on him I have the ability matchup nightmare. This allows you to get great separation versus man coverage when playing versus a linebacker, and can help you get some big gains versus these man coverage looks. Now for personnel groupings, we have three major looks, with the first being 11 personnel, and this will take up the vast majority of our formations. And here we're gonna have three receivers, one tight end, and one running back, and this is gonna be the backbone for our whole offense. Then we are gonna use 21 personnel. This is gonna be one running back, one fullback, two wideouts, and a tight end. This will be mostly run in the Niners scheme and will give us a very powerful downhill run game and some great play action shots off of it. Then the last grouping we'll be using is 12 personnel. This is one running back, two tight ends, two receivers, and this will give us some really nice balance, and we can actually run the ball really well in these looks, but also drop back and throw strikes. Here's a look at my full lineup that I use for this offense, and a look at all the abilities that I'm going to use. You can pause if you want either of these screens and take a closer look. Now, once you get your full hands on this scheme, you are going to be unstoppable. But remember, there is the wide zone school up on Scheme Kings right now if you want to get a head start on this offense. But to be a complete Madden player, you need to also get stops on defense. So to start dominating on that side of the ball, you need to check out my Georgia Bulldogs defensive coverage match-based scheme. And if you want to check it out, you can start watching it right here.